Thank you very much. It's working. Thank you, Carlos, for inviting me. So my name is Anne-Marie Codour. This is the first time I attend this conference and this network of EPAN, and I come from a little bit of a different perspective, because the academic institution that I'm representing is actually more of an NGO in essence than a university. It is called the University of the Middle East Project, but at the moment it's still a project of a university in becoming. So it's it has started actually 7 years ago, in the time when the Oslo Accords were still, and the peace process was still alive in the Middle East, and where there was a dream of building an integrated region. Shimon Peres at the time had the dream of making Israel, Palestine, and Jordan, for instance, as the Benelux of the Middle East, and the idea of creating a MENA region that could eventually become economically integrated was very much in the thinking, even at the level of the World Bank, and there were lots of conferences on the MENA region. And in that context, in that very hopeful geopolitical context, a group of young academics from the Middle East, from Israel, Palestine, myself, I'm French with Moroccan origins, started with an idea of creating a university for Israelis, Palestinians, and Arabs from throughout the region, and to have the future leaders of the region study together and bring solutions together for the region. And that idea started at the time in the Boston area, where we were all studying or doing research. And we created this NGO in 1997. And since then, we have been doing summer programs in different fields, and targeting really the main areas of concern for the region and for the development of the region. And one of these fields is governance, public policy, and civil society. And we have been targeting leaders of NGOs, NGO activists, in all the countries of the region. So we have had participants from Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria. And the idea was to train these advocates for more democracy, advocates for human rights, women's rights in the region, to train them to be more efficient, to be more to empower them with the tools to really be able to be efficient in their relation with the administration and with their governments. But of course, this is all in a context where there is very little democracy, and contrary to what Miguel Angel was saying for the case of Mexico, in the case of the MENA region, there is a huge democratic deficit. And I just drew for you this little, I don't know if you can see, this is coming from a recent report of the World Bank, where they've been using I'm sorry. Okay. They've been using an index of public accountability that is using a whole bunch of indicators, and if you look at if you have all the countries of the world, and here the log of GDP per capita, typically as countries that become when income grows, the index of public accountability increases as well. Except for the MENA region, you have a flat line. And for at all level of income, and this is on all the different indicators of transparency in the process of decision making, in terms of accountability of the government, and in terms of all the different indicators you can think of. They are ranking very low on all these, and also this is also in a context where, even though the civil society has been gaining more visibility, there's more and more NGOs in all these countries. There's a lot of constraints, legal constraints on what they can do. You still have lots of activists that can get arrested, human rights activists. So in that context, it's you can think of all the different obstacles to really overcome in terms of improving governance at all levels. But also, I would like to point out an important thing. In that region, people are very sensitive to the fact that they don't want also to be lectured about what they're supposed to do. And the attitude they sense from the northern countries or from donor agencies is like, we are coming and give you the recipe of this is what you have to do. And if you look at that in the context, the broader context of the ideological debate about the clash of civilization between Islam and the West, I think that when you want to come to these countries and really talk about what can be improved, you have to do it in a way that is more in balanced and and not doing it in the way it may have been done before, as giving lessons and being a bit condescending in that way. So regarding this, I would like to mention a very important report that was actually published last year and this year. This is the Arab Human Development Report, and UNDP asked Arab scholars to survey the region, and this is the first time such a report is done by Arabs for Arabs, and it has had a very important impact because it's really an internal view of the problems of governance, problems of education, and all the crisis of the civil society in the Arab world. And it has been an important eye-opener in the Arab societies in the different countries. And the main thesis is that the development, economic development and human development in the region has been handicapped by all the different weaknesses in the governance, in public governance, and so that there are a lot of reforms to be accomplished at all levels. They also, in their second report, the report of 2003, surveyed the higher education in general and higher education. And as Carlos was mentioning, there are lots of gaps, and there are lots of areas that are not at all covered in education. Something that needs to be emphasized when we talk about the education system in the Arab world is that oftentimes curricula are taught in a way, and teaching practices are such that they do not encourage people, they do not encourage students to think on their own, to be creative, and to be critical of what is taught to them. On the contrary, it encourages submission and obedience, and is usually purely based on lecture and repeating what has been said without really questioning it. And knowledge is held as an unquestionable truth. So it's written, it's there, you just have to learn it by heart and repeat it. So in that context, you have students who arrive in the tertiary education at the university and who have not been at all trained to think on their own. So there is a big challenge at the university level then to, especially in the field of social science, political science, that are very that are just in an embryonic state, let's say, in many universities, and most students anyways choose more technical fields like medicine, engineering, and have an early specialization. There are not so many students in the social science and political science anyways. So in that context, what can be done by an institution of higher learning coming from the Western tradition and trying to help these institutions in the region to catch up. You can probably work at several levels, and the initiative you're proposing to have a network of existing institutions is very important. What we've been doing at the University of the Middle East is another approach. We are not working with institutions per se, because in many cases in some of these countries like Syria and Lebanon, it is forbidden to have direct contacts with Israelis. People can go to jail for that. So we work only at the individual level. It's we recruit people who come not as, they don't represent their university or their NGO. They just come on their own, and we have to protect their security this way. So we are recruiting through a network of NGOs. In the region, and we have had so far about 300 alumni who are, as I said, NGO activists in the field of human rights, women's rights, environment, development, public health, and our goal obviously is to start from this number of 300 and grow and have this network grow in the region, so that these people can go back and train other people. And we will in the future use more distance learning programs so that we can reach higher numbers of people. But we have the idea of that this core group of fellows of this program who have been together are really the seeds of something bigger. Once the political situation is ready, they will have already that network in place, so that they can start working in cooperation with their colleagues from this program. And this is our idea, that our programs are not only about a very high quality academic program, it's also to have networks of friendship and relations across boundaries of conflictual countries. So we of course thought that when we started 7 years ago that by 2004 we would have already a campus with thousands of students, and we had actually been promised a piece of land south of Tangier by Mohammed VI. This was in the summer of 2000, and at the time everything looked rosy in the region, and obviously since the beginning of the Intifada and everything else, we had to scale down our expectations. But we are still there, we are still alive, we are continuing year after year, and we are bringing more and more people, and we'll be in Toledo this summer with about 100 students throughout the summer. So if you would like to know more about the University of the Middle East, and I have some brochures here. Thank you.